I can no longer trust or believe any woman on this planet. I'm being dead ass. I don't believe anything they say. It sounds strange, but I'm at the point where the moment a female opens her mouth, I'm just like, you're lying. You're lying to me. I don't believe you. She could be telling me about all the good cantaloupe at the grocery store that she found. I don't believe you. I don't believe that you even saw cantaloupe. I don't believe the grocery store had cantaloupe, actually. So I believe that you fucked a guy over by the pineapple. That's what I believe. You know what I mean? I mean, bro, I don't even know how dudes get in relationships today. How do you even get into a relationship? If the chick is over the age of 21 or 22, she's probably slept with at least, bare minimum, 15 dudes already. Probably times that by 10. No. 1,500 dudes she's probably had in her DMs on all her apps, social media apps and dating apps and all that stuff. I mean, the amount of dick pics that she's probably been sent, the amount of dicks that she's probably seen, not just in person, but on a screen, bro. Man. And you want to like buy roses at Giant. Well, Giant is a grocery store. I don't know what grocery store you have where you live, but you want to buy roses at the grocery store and like take her on a date and stuff and like make little dating app profiles that say like, you know, your favorite TV show was Game of Thrones, but you hated the ending. And like, you just need somebody that can understand that and who you can talk with about, you know, Interstellar or something. Like, bro, what are you doing? Why? This whole system is like, you can't do nothing with it. All these women, you can't even believe anything that they say. You get in a relationship, how many dudes you been with? What's your body count? Oh, it's like 4. No, it's not. That's a lie. What? Why would you accuse me of lying? You're accusing me of lying? Yeah, I'm accusing you of lying. You're a liar. You've barely known me for 5 minutes. We just sat down. We have our first drink. Yeah, I know. You're a liar. You're lying to me. How do I know that? Prove it to me. How does a woman prove that? How does a woman prove that, bro? We're fucked. We're fucked. Women have body counts of 15 plus by the age they're 20. By the time they're 25, they're in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And that's just the good ones. Like, how do I not believe that every woman out here is just a slut? Like, just undercover. I can't look at her phone. She's not going to give me her phone. But like, really what I want to say is, give me your phone. When we sit down to a date, I take her to, well, I'm not even going to date. I'm not taking you anywhere. But if I was.
Just to shout this guy out. There's a really good video, this first one of his that I've seen. And he makes it like, you know, you mention roses and not giving them to women, and you automatically get me on board after my nightmare. But I'm a big fan of those, not the nigs themselves, but like when nigs go around in public and they, you know, tell people to switch phones, and like white women just do whatever they're told by a non-white man. So when there's the combination of the camera, the microphone, and a non-white man telling them to do something, white women will just do whatever they're told. So when they're told to, expose their infidelity to their boyfriend or whatever, they actually do it. And I think that this needs to be the litmus test. It will have to evolve, but the current litmus test, he says you can't do it, but I think that you should go on a date. You should plan this whole big thing, and this should be the new meta. This should be the new norm. You plan the big thing, you take her out for the elaborate date, and she gets in your car, and before you even go anywhere, okay, maybe you leave her place, okay, you get about halfway there, you pull over in some sort of like shitty part of town, and you just tell her like point blank, hey, we're gonna do a little phone check quick, hand over your phone. I'm gonna take a look, and if she declines, just kick her out of the car right there. Drop her off at a fucking gas station or wherever women hang out. Who knows? And make her walk home. Just kick her out of your car at that point. She won't let you see the phone. Hey, you save yourself time. You save yourself money, and it lets her know right there that you're not gonna be tolerating that kind of nonsense. He's saying you can't do it, but I think you should do it. I think that that's a good place to start. The methodology will, of course, have to adapt as women adapt to, the new, rules of the game. But I think you should be doing that. It saves you time and it puts women on notice. I think it's the right call. Accidentally. Oh, okay. My bad. Just in here looking for this tab and I can't find it because I dragged it over here.
If I was one of these cuck dudes that's just head in the clouds, no idea what's going on, making dating app profiles, saying that he loves the Outer Banks in September, and that's his best trip of the year. But if I was that dude, God help him. If I just want to, if I took her on a date, I would just want to immediately before saying anything, before even asking her name. I don't even need to know your name. Just give me your phone. Unlock it. Give me it. If a woman won't do that, I'm not dating her. I'm not gonna be with her, bro. I'm not gonna be with her. I'm not gonna be with her. I don't believe in phones, bro. I don't believe women should have phones. There, I said it. I don't believe women should have phones. Should they drive? Probably.
Okay, no, I muted it, but I had my mic muted, so I wasn't talking shit or whatever. I agree with the guy. I don't think that women should have phones, or if they do have phones, they should be like the phone should. You know how like smart cars, like if somebody's an alcoholic, they get a DUI, they gotta blow on the plastic robot dick in their car. and breathalyze themselves before the thing will start for them. I think that phones should be like on house arrest when they're owned by a woman. So like if a woman strays too far from her address that's on paper, the phone just shuts up. Like this is so stupid. You're not in control anyway, dude. That's why you spite them. And it tells you right away. Like, if you call a woman a slut or you call a woman a whore, I was listening to the Tommy F. Yeah interview that he gave on Right Hand Drive Guys the other day, and he was talking about, like, defamation law. And there's apparently something called defamation per se, where if you accuse someone of, being something, like you have to actually prove it, or you can be, found legally responsible for defamation. And even if you call a woman a whore, this same thing applies. So you don't call the woman a whore. You don't, call her a liar about her body account. You just ask, okay, let me see your phone. And if they won't do it, then it's over. That's all. That's all you need to do. It's not about being in control. You're obviously not in control of the woman, but you can, instead of having your time and money wasted on, some sort of like date where you're not going to get shit but disrespect, you can control who's wasting their money in that situation. You can make it so the woman is wasting her money. You make it so she has to spend money that she could be spending on hair, nail, like, I'm sorry, Kato, are you retarded, dude? You just look. How many dating apps does she have installed on her phone? How many fucking DMs does she have going with different guys on each app on fucking, like, phone? Like, what do you mean, what would it reveal? If she's talking to the multiple other men and you're out dating her, like, that's all you need to know. She won't show you her phone. Your personal preference is your personal preference. If you could tolerate a girl that's talking to X number of guys, then whatever, suit yourself. Maybe she will show you the phone. Right? But it's not, you don't control the woman, but you control certain things. You control who's in your vehicle. Yeah, her photo library, good point. You control who's in your vehicle, you control where your vehicle travels, and you control when that vehicle stops moving. So you can just kick her out of your vehicle at any moment. And it makes it very convenient because you can have a dash cam in your vehicle, and if she questions it or whatever, just say you do like Uber or rideshare or something like that. And if she starts spurging out and lying about this sort of situation, you can have the thing on film if you need it to defend yourself. And then she's out the 20, the 40, the $50 or whatever for the Uber. And maybe after this happens to a couple women, and all men don't have to do this, but enough, you just turn into your own kind of, West Elm Caleb sort of character, Women can make their salty Facebook groups about, have you dated this guy? He wanted to see my phone, and he kicked me out of my car when I kicked him out of his car when he wouldn't show it. Women don't scrub their past. Women never get rid of all these people. Things are worse than he's talking about them. Unfortunately, Bill. This guy's basically a normie. He's high tier normie, and he's still arrived at this same perspective. If you may, maybe you're a liberal, so you see other colors of women as viable dating options, which is a topic I'll cover later in this stream. I've got a couple Stormfront posts that I'd like to examine with my viewers. But yeah, if you're gonna date non-white women, then yeah, it's not as bad as he's making it out to be. If you're trying to date your own women, like I'm assuming he is, yes, it's everything he says he is. And if you believe that it isn't, it's because you're in like an isolated area, or you have kind of oofy doofy or Chad survivorship bias where you had some level of success that had nothing to do with your own ability to play the game and inadvertently or maybe intentionally attribute it to your game or whatever. When women just picked you because of the sort of guy you are, like off the rip. But yeah, so I think women know they shouldn't have phones, or the phone should be like it should come with catches, okay? Like if she gets too far away from her registered address, then the phone stops working for everything other than making emergency calls. No more texting, no more apps. The only thing she can dial is the authorities, okay? That way if she gets lost on her way to her dick appointment, she can call the orderlies to come return her to her domicile. Um, I think that, women's electric cars should shut off if they try, because there's no reason a woman should be traveling alone. It's not necessary. No, it hasn't been long over for him, man. He's asking how people get into real relationships with the assumption that they are actually in real relationships. He doesn't seem to have clued in that these guys are the cucks that he's describing. They come along, they lucked out with oofy doofy mode, or they're still with their high school sweetheart, or they are the cucks that he's describing. They're in these relationships because they have no self-respect and they're willing to tolerate women and girls that wouldn't give them the time of day.
Probably not. Freedom of movement? I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that. Freedom of movement means freedom of movement onto dicks.
Absolutely correct. And I think that there needs to be women should have like a social credit score system. White women specifically, I don't really care about the other ones, should have a social credit score system where good behavior towards their men uh, earns them, freedoms, kind of like a jail prisoner. Maybe you can have some extra books in your cell, or you can get on library duty, or you get like an extra chocolate milk at dinner, because you're a good inmate. Women can earn their freedom. In America, you're supposed to be, you know, uh, assumed innocent until proven guilty. White women should be proven. White women can be given the opportunity to prove themselves loyal. And maybe after they've done that, then they can earn their freedoms. They need a social credit score system, but for white women only.
When she came home late the other night, or when she had to leave immediately because her best friend was going through a real tough work experience, she had a tough day at work. Bro, that was just the toughest ride of her life. That was the toughest, just absolute railing that she's ever had in her life. That's what she actually meant. How can you trust any of them, bro? They're all just lizards. I swear, bro, they're all lizards. They're just demonic lizards that are like underneath this skin suit that's just, they're so fucking hot. But you can't trust them. You can't trust them, bro. They're demons. We need to take away their phones. I'm convinced. They shouldn't have access to the internet, bro. They shouldn't have access to the internet. I mean, it's a sad reality, isn't it? It's a sad reality. Like, what are you going to do? And most of these young women, they have no personality, so, like, you kind of have to pick. Do you want a young woman that's probably just has a better chance of having not been railed by 20 dudes 50 times each? But she really has no personality, and she hasn't learned anything about the world, and she's immature, and she's just
Women don't want to be loyal to any man, and they're actually more loyal to dysgenic men, white women are, because that's why they race mix so much, because they get a sense of accomplishment, and the guy actually needs them. You know, it's gratifying to their egos, and, you know, why would you even want to be with women if you have to do all this? Yeah, well, obviously it's not for love, it's so you can have a son. It's so you can have children, dude. Like, yeah, you're extra retarded today for some reason. Normally you're not that clueless.
Stupid. Or do you want an older woman who probably has developed a lot of personality? Has she developed it or has she assimilated it from the 1,000 men that she's been with over the years? The 250 men that she slept with upwards of 60 times each. Yeah, she had plenty of time to, assimilate and mirror different parts of different men's personalities. How do we even know that woman's a real person? What if you're just dating an assimilation of just an amalgamation of 50 dudes' personalities that were all there before you were there? But now she's, 32 and 34, and she's tired. She's exhausted. Her pussy's exhausted, bro. Her mind's shot. She's actually just on, Zoloft and Wellbutrin, Lexapro, not to mention 1,000 different others. Vaping, has a weed addiction, drinks half a bottle of wine every night. But, she says all the right things. She's had 34 years on the planet. She's been around the block. She knows what to say. She's been rejected by enough men to know what not to say and what to say. She knows what she's doing.
Women will stay with their dysgenic men far longer than they'll stay with any eugenic ones. They'll tolerate all manner of indignity for retards, for non-whites, for ugly ass dudes. If you're average, you don't get shit. You get nothing but headaches from women. You don't titillate them at either end of the extreme. You know, she can't brag about you and she can't get sympathy for you. Yeah, they do get a completely different treatment, but that does nothing to, just because the woman doesn't treat him necessarily with respect in the home doesn't mean he doesn't get treated with far more respect outside of the home for having a partner. Everywhere he goes, people will gas him up for his girl. The couple treatment that you get real actual respect. I seen a short from American Dad. Let me find it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, I'll play this clip. So American Dad, shitty show, I don't actually watch this shit, but stuff comes across your YouTube shorts and it's relevant to the conversation at hand. You know, it shows the cultural perception of these couples, okay? And I'm not going to put it on screen right now because I'm playing. All you really need is the audio. But it shows Stan catching a taxi, and listen to the dialogue.
Would you mind if we took your taxi? We're a sweet young newlywed couple, and we kind of expect the world to give us things.
Good Lord, you're so cute together! Get in there, you cuties! Good luck with everything!
That is exactly how normies treat doofies that happen to have a woman. Okay, they get the silver platter. The bosses want to help them. You know, they get the preferable job hours. They get all this shit. They get the higher pay, they get the if you're at a restaurant, you have a waiter, she's actually going to be like treating you well instead of trying to make sure that you don't think she's being, nice to you and you're asking her out instead of giving her a tip or something, okay? Like, that is the treatment that they get. So yeah, even if she's a bitch to them at home, it improves their whole existence outside of the home. These guys are so well liked and respected when they're at work. They'll stay at work rather than interact with their wife. Part of it's they just don't want to go home to the old ball and chain, but part of it is definitely they have a better time in these places than guys that don't have a woman. It can be both things at once.
So you get her, but she's probably just using you as a means to an end. Just a means to an end. She wants some kids now. She wants some kids. She wants to get married. And then she'll use the court system to get half your stuff and take the kids and all this stuff, because the system is a feminized system. It's in their favor. So what are we to do, man? I literally can't trust. I'm at the point where personally, I can't trust a woman. It don't matter who it is, bro. I can't trust my aunt. My aunt's a great woman. Can't trust her, bro. My stepmother, she is, on the surface, really great. She does some great stuff. She says some great things. Can't trust her. I don't believe it. I don't believe you. I don't believe any of it. I don't believe any of you. I don't believe you guys are who you say you are, who you act like you are. I'm not sure about you guys. All women, bro. They're disturbing to me. I swear, I literally lack the capacity to trust any woman. She could come straight from St. Michael's Church. 19 years old. Her dad vouches that she was locked in her room all the way up until her 18th birthday. But bro, where was she in the 2 months between, or where was she in the last 6 months? She's 19 now. Where did she escape? Did she leave her room for? Yeah, she might have left. She had a couple outings. She might have left, but I think she was just at the gas station. She had to get some snacks.
And this is hyperbolic, but women will do like this sort of shit with the quickness, okay? This is why they always talk about how you gotta spay and neuter your animals, because if you have a female dog or a female cat and they fucking get out of the house, the very first thing they're going to do is they're gonna sneak off to try and go get knocked up. It's every single time. It's all the female animal thinks about, okay? The male animal, has other priorities, okay? He's, trying to, guard his territory. He's looking out for other things. He's trying to, when the male dog is horny, you can tell, okay? He's, trying to hump shit, okay? It's very obvious. The female dog is just sly horny the whole time, and you gotta watch it, because when it gets out, that's what it's going to do. It's gonna sprint for it.
7-Eleven one night, no? That was a dick at 7-Eleven. No, I don't think that's it. She, she's a good girl. She goes to church. She goes to youth group. I don't believe it. How do you do it, bro? How do you do it? How do you trust women? How do you believe women? Is it possible in this society where they have phones, where they have cars, where they are so free? Women are freer than ever. Isn't it awful that what coincides with the most free and powerful period for women is also complete and utter collapse of relationships between men and women. It's almost like with all their freedom and all their power and all the attention that they get now, we've seen finally who they really are. And it's like, wow, we don't even want to. How are we even attracted to that? It's awful. It's crazy. Were they always like that? We just didn't know because there was no internet, because their movement was restricted. What if they were always like this, bro? You know? What if Elizabeth in Pride and Prejudice actually just settled for Mr. Darcy?
Yeah, of course Raymond got a girlfriend. He's probably had one. I could have a girlfriend too, but the problem is they're Zogbots. Okay? Yeah, they'll give you a girl if you do Zog's bidding, but it's gonna be no different than a prostitute. Okay? Instead of you paying for her, you're gonna pay her daddy, Uncle Zog, with your labor in one form or another in order to get the girl. And it's gonna be, if you're okay with that, you know, it's basically seeing an escort, except she'll be your escort. It's fine if you're satisfied with that, whatever. You know, I'm not though. You know, I wanted you know, maybe it doesn't exist, and it's a figment, it's a social construct that you know, men invented that women can never achieve. But if that's what I want, I don't want anything short of that, and they can't offer that. You know, Raymond has no standards. You can tell Raymond, if the government would let Raymond chain some woman to the kitchen counter, he'd do it and go, "Well, I'm an intellectual. I deserve this buxom beauty." Okay? He has no like qualms about that sort of thing. He's not gonna care. It's not gonna bother him. You know, he'll have a slave woman. He's fine with that. Now talk to a girl on stream. Now we've seen where that goes with Monday, FA Monday.
Darcy, because like that was the only dude that was like decent within the 30-mile radius. And like, what's she gonna do? Get in a horse and buggy and like bug all the way to, 200 miles to get with, Rick in his estate? Like, people are gonna see that. People are gonna talk. People see what's going on because it's a small town. She can't send letters because that shit gets intercepted. See what I mean? Like, what if she was always just like, man, I wish I had 50 dicks around. I wish I just had my fill. I could just feed. What was even her last name? I don't even know. What if she was just the biggest slut to mankind? What if they all just use men as like a means to an end? Because they see that they're the less powerful being. They see that men just dominate the world, so they're just like, you know what? They get all this stuff. They get what they want. I'm just going to get what I want. But even if a good one comes along, it's like, how do I know? How do I know? How do I know? How do I know?
Commenter says, I want a female version of myself who grows alongside me identically to the way I do and mirrors all my beliefs and humor, etc. You know, that reminds me, I was listening to like these kind of videos while I was driving today for work. And one of the guys was complaining because they were talking about like a situation where, sorry, I'm distracted seeing what Lou dropped here. They were talking about a situation where a professional athlete, his wife or whatever, The guy's wife, she stayed with him by his side the whole time while he was building his career as a professional athlete. And then she didn't want to sign a prenup. And all the, like, they were complaining that this woman felt that she was entitled to half of this stuff. And this is one of those situations where I do believe that I side with the woman, which is rare, okay? Because if you're a guy and, you know, you've got a girl the whole time, okay? She's with you when you were broke and everything else. That is truly a situation where you had a woman behind you, like, spurning you on. She was the wind in your sails and is responsible for your success, because I doubt you would have had the motivation, the energy, the self-confidence without getting your dick sucked to push through and accomplish all those things. She is entitled to half of your shit if she leaves. I honestly believe that. I think that she is. You know, if you were a self-made man, okay, you pulled all this off without a bitch in your corner, then it's a different story. But that wasn't the case here. One of the aspects of the story was specifically that she had been with him the whole time. Okay? She does. She deserves half your shit, and she deserves to get pissed and leave. No, it's not a rare case. You know, on Thomas's stream, I pulled up that fucking the fat ape with his fucking can't put down the cup shit. He had a bitch that was with him the whole time. By his side. He doesn't do anything. He sits in a chair and he slurps lean. That's all that he does, and it was a white girl, still believed in him, still stuck around. And then she left once he became famous. Okay, but if you're a white guy and a woman, you know, actually gives you her attention and she pushes you forward, damn right she deserves half of your shit. Okay? Damn right she does. Because a lot of guys didn't get that, okay? Even if she takes half of your shit, you'll still have more left over than you would have had if you had to struggle along with nobody.
Is there such a thing? Because I've seen a lot of good ones and they ended up being evil.
You believe a woman actually liked Dave Blunt? What do you mean, oofy doofies? She was with him the whole time. She left after he got famous. He's leaning in, but so is she. Of course, we got the snake tattoo here on the arm, right? So, you know, they're in the cult or whatever. But women will, you know, worship their whatever nig Satan assigns to them. You know, they'll throw their own men under the bus. No, Dave Blunt isn't your average oofy doofy. He is the prenuptial oofy doofy. He is proof positive of oofy doofy theory. He's proof positive of just be non-white. No, you retard, so you're not listening? She's been here pushing him forward the whole time. He had zero status. She left when he got status. She built him. He had zero status when they had a relationship. She left when he got famous because she didn't want to be seen with him probably in public, but she was with him all the way up to that point. No, she's not. Look around, bud, and you'll see this all over the place. People just want to cope and pretend that, oh, well, you can't get a woman, you must be a loser. Okay, people complaining, oh, what's your idea of dysgenic, oofy doofy? No, I'm not a beta male hater. I don't hate beta males. I don't hate oofy doofies. I think that they should get a woman that's on their level. I don't think they should be getting the best women, which they often do. You know, they should be getting a woman on their level, and that woman should be happy to have him. They shouldn't be, getting the best women, or even good women. Maybe he's a high tier normie, a high tier oofy doofy or something. Personality matters, but not in the way that people teach you. Your personality matters in that you have to be an agreeable, take nothing serious, anti-intellectual retard sort of guy. Then your personality is good. You have a good personality. Then you can, make up for the cardinal sin of being unattractive. Oofy Doofy wouldn't check the phone. That's the thing. Therein lies the strength of the Oofy Doofy. He doesn't care. She can cheat on him, and Oofy Doofy just keeps on chugging along.
They just knew how to fake good. They just knew how to fake like they were good women. But they were evil. How do I not know you're the same? This whole thing of like dudes being in relationships and marriages and like, oh, you just gotta trust. It's just a matter of trust. You just gotta trust her, bro. Bro. You're basically just accepting. You've accepted the fact that she's just riding another dude, recreationally from time to time. And you've just kind of accepted that. She's getting tons of attention on you. Bro, your wife, the mother of your 3 kids, probably gets 50 dick pics a day. I mean, come on, let's be honest. What's going on here, bro? What's actually going on? Can you look at her phone? Can you check her phone all the time? How do you know that she's not deleting things when you can check her phone? Like, it's just... I swear, it's at the point where you either stay away from women entirely until we can take away their phones so they can no longer have access to the internet, where their movement can be restricted. But then again, it's like, why do I even want that? Why do I want to date a prisoner? Do you want to date a prisoner, bro? Do you want the mother of your kids and the
Raymond would. That's the point I was making earlier. Guys like Raymond, if it was socially permissible, would have women. You guys ever seen that movie, The Road? Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, in the movie The Road, it's like a post-apocalyptic movie. And they break into a house thinking, people are living here, they must have food. And they find in the basement that the people that live in the house are cannibals. Okay? They're keeping people alive and slicing little bits off of them and eating them. That's how they're surviving in the apocalypse. Raymond would be like this. Raymond would be okay with having a woman chained up to the oven in his house, Saw style, except he wouldn't even give her a hacksaw. And he would make her act as if she thought he was the sexiest man alive, or he would beat her. That's the sort of man Raymond is, and you can just tell.
The love of your life to just be a prisoner? Yeah, great. Yeah, she's the love of my life. She does everything that I want her to do. She's the mother of my kids. But yeah, she can't go anywhere. She can't have a phone. She can't talk to nobody. Yeah, she's a prisoner. Yeah. Bruh. Is that really what we got to do with women? That seems like it. It seems like we just got to make them prisoners, bro. What even?
Yeah, this isn't even necessarily a criticism of Raymond, okay? I'm just saying that, and he's not the only person that's like that. A lot of ugly guys are like that. They think that, you know, they'd be satisfied with having a woman as a prisoner if it was permissible. I wouldn't be. Okay, maybe it's my brain, maybe I'm, you know, a moral fag, whatever it is. I don't know if I'd intervene in these cases. I'm not going to run around trying to save hoes from Raymond, who's trying to chain them in his kitchen. Okay, but like, that wouldn't satisfy me in any way, because I know the whole thing's fake and gay. Okay, like, she's under duress. Nothing means anything.
What's going on? What's going on? I don't want that. If I gotta chain you up and like restrict your movement and take away your phone, then there's a problem. There's a real problem. Then like who you are is obviously terrible, evil. But then what? Trust you? Yeah, right. Can't trust you. Can't believe anything you tell me. Oh, you're so great, sweetie. Shut up. Oh, you're just so... I've never met a man just so articulate and so witty and so... Shut up. Shut up. I've heard all of it. I've heard all of it. You can just shut up.
Why complain about women and doofies rather than complain about not being a Chad? Because I'm not a sore loser. Okay, if I'm bested, if the guy's smarter, taller, faster, stronger, okay, I'm fine. You know, he gets the 10 out of 10. I'm fine. I lose. Okay? Losing to a doofy could only happen in the current arrangement that we have. Okay? Losing to Chad is eugenic. Losing to a doofy is a humiliation ritual. That's why. That's why doofy bothers me more than Chad. Okay? If guys that had the hair implants, that were working out and had good bone structure, if those were the guys that were reproducing, if that's what I seen everywhere, it wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't be happy, but I'd understand. Okay, with doofies, it's fucked. There's nothing redeeming about the doofy. I might be physically doofy. You know, I could be fat enough, I could be physically non-threatening enough to pass as a doofy, but I fail the personality check. My behavior is not congruent with the oofy-doofy appearance. Okay, I'm not going to tolerate a woman that, like, disrespects me the way a doofy will. My race does care about me. White men have been the only people that have really ever helped me in my life. So if possible, I'd like to help them. Okay, like that's low IQ, like go watch Rehab Room. You know, if that's your opinion. Doofy proves personality is king. No, Doofy proves that the right kind of subservient cucked personality can get you in a subpar relationship. That's all it proves. It doesn't prove that personality is king, because personality matters the opposite way. Women don't like the doofy personality if the guy is good looking. She won't respect him because, again, his personality is incongruent with his appearance. If he's good looking, she wants him to be like the archetypal bad boy, okay? Like the kill to go with the thrill, okay? Women, if you're like an unattractive guy, they expect a subservient, cucked pet personality. Yeah, women want the prisoner. Yeah, women will have the prisoner doofy.
Give me your phone. No. All right. Bye. That's what I should do. I should make a dating app profile that just says, give me your phone. On the first date, you're handing me your phone and I'm looking at it. That's honestly, I think I might do that actually. I think I might do that.
You don't want to warn them. It's
Or it
got to
could be
be
more
give me your
based.
phone's got to be a
Or it
surprise.
could just be more like just Chad. I'll take you on a date. We'll go to McDonald's. And you can order off the dollar menu. And then you hand me your phone. I'm going to look through it. And then it's like we're going to have to go to the Apple store. And I'm going to have to get from them if you had erased your history or deleted any apps in like the last 24 hours.
Part of being physically imposing is being good looking. The things that make you physically imposing line up with traditional looks theory. Like,
And then I want to see that. And if you have, you're done. I'm never taking you to McDonald's again. You fucking sly little lizard. Lizard. I'm telling you, bro. I don't trust none of them. What are you going to do? Go on a date? And just act like, oh, yeah. Dudes are out here qualifying and like trying to validate and trying to make women laugh. Bro. Bro, she's gotten 25 dick pics from the moment she woke up this morning. Why are you trying to make her laugh? Dudes are shot, man. These dudes out here are shot. Stay away from women, bro. Stay away from them. I'm staying away from them. I don't know what they are. They're disturbing. They're terrifying. They're dangerous. They can't be trusted. They cannot be trusted. I'm staying away. I don't believe them. I don't believe anything they say. I don't believe anything they say, bro. Oh, yeah, I've been trying to be more sexually disciplined lately. No, you haven't. Oh, I was thinking about actually going back to church.
the great men of history were great men because they could dedicate their minds to something other than securing a man. You're not a great man of history, bro. Well, and there are very few great men today, because anybody that could be considered great by the old standard is struggling to find a partner because it gives women the ick. So, you could afford to ignore women's opinions. Yeah, well, it's not about, how things should be, it's about how they are. So, you have to, you gotta play the game that you're in. You don't get to sit there and, women didn't used to be this way. Yeah, well, times change and they are. Wasted half our lives on a problem which was non-existent 200 years ago. No era of men had to care about this. Yeah, well, except your era and mine. So, if that's how you cope and tell yourself, it's a new problem, we don't have to solve it, it's a new problem. Well, then suit yourself, dude. But, it's the problem of the modern age. You have so much material abundance, so many caloric excess, that they've created the new problem. Now there's no way to woo or sway women. People have solved it in their lifetime. It's not going to be solved for you by somebody else in your lifetime. Someone's not going to come along and hold your hand and go, here's your faithful, loyal, loving wife that only has eyes for you. That's not going to happen. That doesn't mean that you can't learn to, press the societal buttons that you're given to make something happen. Maybe you're in a position where, you're too fucking old like me or too jaded to make it happen, but if you're a young guy, you have a tremendous advantage, if in no other way than in the sense that you have access to all this information. You have hard-won information that Gen X and millennial guys had to learn the hard way. Okay, you get a head start. You have a leg up. You don't have to make the mistakes to figure this shit out. You're being spoon-fed online. And you're young enough where if you make mistakes, it'll be forgiven. Old guys don't have the luxury of that. By the time a lot of us figured it out, it was too late.
No, you haven't. No, you weren't. That's a lie. I was just over in Spain with me and my girlfriends last month. No, you weren't. Show me. She shows me a picture of her, in front of some clay buildings with some palm trees with her friends, drinking margaritas. How do I know that's Spain? Prove everything to me. Prove everything. How do I not know that that's AI in the picture? Is that really you? Who are these friends? I want to meet them. What are they telling you? What kind of lives do they live? Do they have boyfriends? How many men have they been with? I want to know everything about your circle. I want to know everything about your family. I want to know everything about you. And I need to verify it. I need documentation. I need documentation that proves that documentation is not altered. And then I need further documentation to prove that documentation is not altered. I just need to pull your Apple file. It just has all your data. You know what I mean?
And people will say that, he's paranoid, he's fucking too controlling, and whatever, right? True. At the same time, though, is this not how parents act with their children? If parents give their kid a cell phone, a lot of the times they're doing this the whole time. They're reading every single message that goes in and out. So if it's okay for a parent to do it, for a child that they're responsible for, if you're going to be held responsible for a woman, is it not also acceptable for you to do this? I don't see a difference.
It's funny, but it's true. So, what a time. What a time to be alive. I think men just kind of have to start getting to this point. They have to start getting to the point where they're like, you know what? We should take women's phones away. You know what? We should stop believing women. Anything that they say. Unless there's actual proof. Unless we can actually prove it. Where's the proof?
Divorced with kids easily. If I got to marry my high school sweetheart, I had her best years, I got, 2.5 children, 2.1 replacement birth rate out of her, I'd much rather be divorced than married. Or divorced and with kids than, never having had anything. It's not even close. You're low IQ if you wouldn't pick that. Eventually you're old and what are you gonna do if you have money? You gonna buy a buy a Lambo so you can Richard Culper your way around, cut up traffic like a nig? Is that really gonna satisfy you? I'm not sure that it would be.
Oh, I've only been with 2 men in my life. Prove it. Prove that it's not 20. Prove it. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah, the problem we have, divorce is fine. I don't even care about divorce. The problem is women expecting to be married after having given everything away to guys that didn't marry them. It's easy to cope. If you fucked a girl for her best 10 years and you got kids out of her first, who cares if she fucking divorces you and ends up with another guy? Who cares? You can always pat yourself on the back and go, he's getting my sloppy seconds. You know, he's getting shit compared to what I got. You know, it's easy to cope. What's impossible to cope with, if you're at all aware, is the opposite, where you get kids, but the other guy got everything else. Because you got nothing. Those aren't good genes that you're going to be passing on. Your daughter's going to be a whore. Your son's going to be a loser like you.
That's the video.
You know, and if you get divorced and you have kids, like, yeah, women misspend child support and everything else, but would you rather be giving money to a woman that has your kids or a woman that doesn't? Again, it's not even comparable. You know, all this stuff is acceptable if other things happened first. Or didn't happen first in the case of other things. So I got some Stormfront posts I want to pull up, but I also don't want to grief my group here more than necessary. So I got another video I'm going to put on here.
Saw something going around on Telegram today, and I just wanted to read it. Found it interesting. You know, I talk a lot about race. And there's so much to talk about, but of course, one of the things that's become increasingly a problem has been, you know, issues in the classroom. And a lot of teachers are going through an absolute nightmare, you know, over it. So let's see here, from a Reddit thread, Reddit/advice, from a user Routine Crew 8651, says, "My students are making me have racist thoughts, and I am really worried about what that means for me." Uh-oh. Let me, 26 female, preface this by saying that my parents raised me in...
What if divorce makes you homeless? The only way you can have a house nowadays is with a woman. You need multiple incomes in 80% of cases. If divorce may, I'd rather be homeless having had a woman than homeless without getting one. Synthetic Man also got his assigned internet girlfriend. They're handing him out like candy. Ah, well, I don't get any good ones. I get ones that act completely plausibly deniable in person and never shoot their shot, and that's not acceptable after having been thrown under the bus and mistreated the way I was. They should know better than to send women that expect me to do the instigating. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't count at that point.
in an environment where they promoted acceptance and inclusivity of all kinds.
You know, as Asmongold got his government girlfriend for a period of time, too. Now, he had like a, not my type necessarily, but kind of hot, plastic, bimbo-y type girl. You know, and it's his fault he couldn't keep that going and probably just played too much World of Warcraft. You know, it happens to all these guys. They all get the Fed girlfriend. And it's not because they are actually, it's not because, you know, it's not because of status. Okay, that's something else that I want to get across here, is that they don't get the girls because they're famous. Okay, there's lots of guys that are famous that don't get any women. It's because women are handed out like party favors by Zog. Okay, so you have to, you'll find out if you're doing any of this sort of thing in your life that you act a certain way once you have an audience, and the wind will be in your sails. Okay, you'll You will be the path of least resistance will become apparent to you. If you keep doing what you want to do, you're not going to get shit. They get the girl for their service to Zog. Okay, it has nothing to do with clout.
Hey, me too. Growing up, I was always pro-immigration. Not so much, but I had and still have friends who were people of color. I even dedicated a large portion of my career to help first-generation university students, international students, and students
I hope this teacher gets curb stomped by a niglet whose cell phone she took away. Okay, that's what she deserves for this.
of underrepresented backgrounds from all over the world. It's rewarding. I myself was an international student and still struggled, although I grew up more privileged than 99% of the international students I've known. It has all backfired in the last 3 to 4 months, and I'm worried about some of the thoughts that I've been having. I began a new job some months ago, lecturing at a university preparation program in Europe. The students are essentially students from countries where they did not get an equivalent high school diploma and have to do this preparation program to qualify for bachelor programs. They are
The remedial retard Rudy Poo classroom. Holy, God has a sense of humor.
mainly from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, Egypt, Algeria, and Nigeria. 90% of them are guys, and the ages are usually between 17 and 22, so most of them are legal adults. Since I began, there have been so many behavioral issues. Yeah, I'll bet. I've worked previously as a substitute teacher in a European troubled middle school, a teacher's assistant in the US for quite a few years, and as a lecturer in some private universities and professional development programs around Germany and the Netherlands. This includes a similar prep program that I taught in for one intake, which lasted around 10 months. It has never, ever been this bad, not even half as bad. I have not been able to finish a single sentence of lecture since I began. Believe it. Believe it. I get talked over by a lot of the students. They will not shut up. I've tried raising my voice, yelling, silently staring at them, sitting down and not doing anything, removing them from the class, telling them that I won't teach until they are quiet. Nothing, literally nothing works. Okay. Sorry. It's just, that's 37 years of experience and fatigue. That's laughing right now. Some of the students have also called me names, commenting on my dressing, body weight, tattoos, hair, you name it. They've also called me broke for my job, which is far from true, but still completely unacceptable. They cheat on their attendance and lie about everything. When I've confronted them in the past, I was physically intimidated by them and pushed into a corner and screamed at. I have seen countless clips just like that. Countless. So, this story is not particularly an outstanding story. It's increasingly very common. The university intervened, sort of. They scolded me as well and offered training workshops to learn about cultural differences. Do you hear that, guys? Cultural differences. The cultural differences apparently being that in their culture, it's appropriate to put their hands on a woman. F that, I want no part of it. Sure, you want a part of it. You were always down for it. You voted for it. You probably called people evil who didn't want it. I know your type. The cultural differences apparently being that in their culture, did you not look into it ahead of time? Or when people like me would try to warn you, you would just call us phobic or whatever. You weren't listening. And then you're going to act surprised when this shit happens. You're going to act surprised. That's incredible to me. And it's just so exhausting. I'm glad she's sort of kind of snapping out of it, but only just barely. And of course, in many cultures, it's appropriate to do a whole lot more than put their hands on a woman. You know what I mean? And we've tried to point this out, like, look how women are treated over there. You're a xenophobe. So she continues, they're messy. They drop trash on the floor and ask me to pick it up like I'm their servant. Yeah. Yeah. Some of them have terrible hygiene as if they're 5-year-olds. You bet. They think everything is up for grabs. Give me that. Give me that. They sure do. And have stolen my personal property before. But the university asked me not to tell anyone and replaced my belongings because they were worried about their reputation. That is how much the establishment copes for you people, for you non-whites. It's how much the establishment copes and covers for you. They absolutely do not want you to face any reputation damage for your behavior. And that's just one of infinite examples. And that's pretty a minor example, rather, of this issue. It's unreal. You know, I have never seen more excuses given, more passes given. I have never seen more shit covered up for people than for you folks. For you people of color and you immigrants and all that stuff. The level of coping that they do to try to cover it all up for your benefit.
I agree. Raymond is a government asset. Raymond's whole purpose and why he's pushed, he's antithetical to the Monday FA Monday, okay? Because Raymond is like a cretin. Okay, if you look at Raymond, it's easy to see, like ugly to listen to, ugly to look at. And he perpetuates the stereotype that they want assigned to incels. Monday FA Monday was the opposite. Okay, he was well-spoken, he was considerate, he was polite, and he still struggled with women. That's why they had to destroy him. Raymond, on the other hand, is everything they want incels to be. That's why he's pushed to the forefront. He's a caricature. He provides the boogeyman. If he ever got larger, you'd have mainstream news articles talking about him the way they do Andrew Tate. Okay? You know, divisive, evil incel thinks that he deserves a 10 out of 10 Stacy chained to his refrigerator. And Raymond would be happy to give it to them. That's why Raymond gets pushed. That's why he's the darling of YouTube, because he's the same reason everybody heard fucking Elliot Rogers' name. Because that's what he is. Your introduction to incel is not going to be somebody like Monday FA Monday. The first time the public hears about incel, it's some little Eurasian tiger faggot who wrote like hilarious monologues. Just happened to have a father that that worked in the movie theaters and everything else. Okay, it just so happens. You get the pictures of him sitting in his BMW, you know. He's just entitled. He thinks he's entitled to a 10 out of 10 Stacy, and that's people's first impression of an incel. Raymond fits that stereotype. He fulfills that for them. You know, he gives the story that they want to spread.
It's just astounding. And you're still so smug, and you still have the nerve to call us oppressors, you call us privileged, and all this other shit. And just look at that. So she continues, being treated like this hurts. I am not respected. That's for sure. I am not taken seriously. People tell me every day I'm a bad teacher, and in my previous jobs, I've had great teaching reviews. Just not with this one. I don't know. I know. You might not know, but I do. The treatment is so poor, I'm starting to have really, really nasty thoughts about these people. Maybe you're having accurate thoughts about these people. You know, maybe for once you're listening to your instincts and realizing that instincts are not evil. And these thoughts are normal. Maybe it's a part of your biological...
Angry, bald, ugly, misogynist, blaspheming women without mentioning Jews or non-whites or demographics. Yeah, exactly. And that's the DBDR thing too. That's why DBDR gets pushed, because it's the same thing, just kind of from a different angle. It's my life is so trash. I'm a white guy, and let's let's not it's froglets, and it's just be a trucker. That'll fix your life. It's the Asmongold effect too. Asmongold spoon feeds his audience some of these talking points, but he never mentions any of this stuff. He'll sit there all day and tell you, I just want women I can coom to in my video games. I just want women I can coom to in my video games, guys. Why can't I have hot pixel girls? And he never addresses why he can't. Who might be responsible for that? It's always kept this surface level understanding where you're not supposed to dig any deeper than that. You're never supposed to ask why. You're never supposed to dig any deeper. You're supposed to just take it at face value. That's as far as things go, right? That's usually how it is, right? Things are exactly how they're presented, and there's never anything more to the question. Right.
Logical sort of, I don't know, evolutionary instinctive immunity. It's like an immune reaction to all this nonsense. It's your body, your mind telling you need to get the hell away from them, and you do need to get the hell away from them. Nothing about this. I have
no idea how this fight works.
Thinking that this was gonna work was the unnatural thing. So she's having these really nasty thoughts about these people. Oh no, I'm hesitant to sit next to people like these in public transportation. Good. And generally avoid them because I worry that they will yell at me. Good! Avoid them! Yes!
Held down by a nebulous group with no identifying characteristics.
Yeah, they'll do that. I've looked at my
Alex Jones says that they're Nazis, right? That's what Alex Jones says. He attributes everything to Nazis.
I wonder why. It's almost like what we have to say about them is actually how it plays out in reality. It's almost like the statistical data that we have.
Asmongold defends Jews all the time. Yeah, when the whole the whole September, October, whatever thing happened. They did like a fake canceling thing of Asmongold to make him seem like he's based and countercultural. Where, we're going to cancel Asmongold for saying Palestinians should all die, get hellfire missiled by Israel or something. Like, they pretended that was like verboten, and that's not something that you can say in the United States. No, it was a fake canceling. He didn't lose any viewers over it. He didn't lose any money. In fact, he's like bigger than ever. Somebody, ironically, I don't like the guy, but Hassan Piker, look at what's happening to him now that he'll criticize Israel. He'll say something about it. And, his viewership's tanking. He doesn't get pushed the way he did. He bit the hand that fed. People in his chat will bring up Jews, and he always counters them. Yeah, he can't be. Let's see if having the e-girl avatar gets me this trinket from this person. No, probably not. They got real bad trinkets. I don't think they can even trade it. Yeah, Destiny gets away with everything. Yeah, Destiny can sexually blackmail women. All these guys, they can sexually blackmail women, and what happens? What do? They shill for the Democrat platform, they shill for Jews, they shill for anti-whites. Sorry, those guys have no shortage of women. It's almost like these people are, the women are being controlled by them one way or another. Funny how that works. Yeah, and Destiny gets to play the the big man character. You know, he gets to pretend to be like the intellectual dark web Jordan Peterson type of sort of guy. Like, no, you don't want to fuck with Destiny. Yeah, he's famous for being like a left-wing retard. And who does he get to fuck? The sirens that are put into the right-wing community by Jews. Destiny gets to fuck Lauren Southern. That tells you that the same people own both of them, you know. Destiny is like the Pete Davidson of internet politics. You know, if you fall out of line, you know, they're gonna send Destiny to fuck your bitch. And you keep falling out of line, they're gonna try and kill you. You know, that shows you who owns both of them. You know, who can hand out Lauren Southern to Jeets in Canada, hand out Lauren Southern to Destiny. It's because she's been owned by these people the whole time. She does exactly what she's told to do. She goes where she goes. I'll finish this video, then we'll take a little break here.
Actually bears out in reality. You can see it in action, and your instincts will tell you through observation and experience.
No, dude, it's not about programmable. It's about every single fucking human being on Earth is under the effect of mind control technology all day, every day. And women especially, they have no like inner monologue. They're NPCs to begin with, so the kind of brainwave controls that like control niggas and makes them do what Zog wants them to do also control women. It controls most goys too, most white guy goys, except if you wake up to it, you'll see what's going on around you. MK Ultra soup. And it's the Prince of the Power of the Air, man. That's what's going on. It's you know, there's a guy that used to comment on dashboard stuff all the time. You know, and I believe his YouTube channel was called Direct Energy Smirk. Okay, that's what's going on. They're using direct energy to like pilot women, pilot nigs, and when you have this sort of thing, you can you can accomplish anything you want. It turns every human being on Earth into your pawn, and the only way somebody can counter it is if they're consciously able to realize what's going on, and you know, take steps to counteract it. You know, once you realize that thoughts and actions that you've been taking are not your own, then you can filter it and realize, oh, so this is the game. Okay? And you can keep yourself on the rails so that you've got, you know, you can avoid trouble. But women, nigs, they don't have this kind of, they don't have this sort of like self-regulating mechanism. You know, all the traditional groups of people without self-control, when they start getting hit with the ALF weapons, they start doing real dumb shit. Okay, and they don't question it. They can't comprehend what's going on.
That it's right. You know, that these horrible racist conclusions of ours are completely accurate. So yeah, of course she's hoping for European or East Asian students.
Dustin singing opera, yeah, you can hear him. This is what I mean. I gotta listen, dude. I listen to that. I listen to coughing. I got my mom on the other end of me. I can't close any doors. So there used to be piles of dogs barking on top of this, and people fucking on the roof of my bedroom. Fun stuff. No, I related heavy to Dismal's last video where he's talking about his brother. You know. It's a difficult thing. Like, you know, we had the guy in the chat earlier talking about how would you rather be fucking homeless, and like I'm not homeless right now because, you know, I got the McMansion family home, but without this I'd be homeless, and my only way out of it would be, that's why, you know, a lot of homeless people are addicts, a lot of them deserve to be there, but I know my own struggle of I can't afford anything on one income. I can't do it. Everybody I know that's moved out or gotten anywhere in life, they have a woman in their life. And without that, necessary starting point, you never pass go. You never get to collect $200. You never get to do anything.
Wouldn't you? Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. Don't even virtue signal like you wouldn't. And if you do virtue signal, it's because you haven't had to deal with him. Like so many of you people, I swear to God, there are so many of you people that are the loudest supporters of diversity.
No, we've got so like the floor that I live in my house is supposed to be like a basement suite. It had its own kitchen, washing machines, everything else. And the first thing we did when we moved in here was my mother, this would have been like 8 or 10 years ago, ripped the entire kitchen apart, disconnected the washing machine, disconnected the sink, disconnected the stove. The only thing she left was the fridge, pulled all the cupboards down, and it's sat like that for 10 years now. So, and she lives in the kitchen upstairs. So, she's made it, she's like the ultimate nigger, like she forces interaction with her. Okay, like if I had like an actual like the basement suite down here, I'd I'd we'd hardly ever interact. And there's a door that separates this basement suite from the rest of the house, and anytime I close that door so I can, keep some noise, even if I'm just doing it to be considerate, like I'm making a lot of noise and I don't want her to like be disturbed or whatever. The only time she even kind of tolerates me doing it is when she's vacuuming. And even then it's right afterwards. You gotta come open it up. She uses the excuse that the one dog in the house now, needs to be able to get to and fro. And I can hear the dog. The dog is smarter than she is. In fact, the dog is the only smart female that I have ever encountered in my life. Okay, that's the only thing that's given, and I'm pretty sure the dog is just piloted by a satellite, so it's actually just AI that's making the dog seem smart. But that's beside the point. The dog will scratch at the door, and the door's already fucked, okay? The dog is fucked up. The door is fucked up. My sister had her dog here, and he like chewed the fucking doorknob off while he was trying to fuck the other dog that isn't fixed. Like the door's destroyed. So the other dog scratching at it when it wants to get through, I hear, I get up, I open the door. It's no big deal. So yeah, I can't close the door. I have to be like subject to all this like kind of noise and shit. And my mother will make like she puts like the dog bowl and stuff downstairs, so every time she comes to give the dog food, she's got to walk past my bedroom and make some sort of remark, like cough, like mumble something, like do I have to listen to her soap operas? Uh, you tell me. I've memorized the opening lines to Days of Our Lives, and I've never watched an episode in my life. Yeah. So, yeah, when I was listening to Dismal stuff about having to live with his brother, like I relate to that shit heavy because yeah, I'd rather live in a trailer on a plot of land if I could afford it. Like that's my plan. That's where I'm headed if I can if I can ever get out of here at some point. That's all I can do. I think I got one of these that I haven't. I gotta run. Need a mother load. Get my shitty fucking score up here. I'm gonna try and do any fancy +2 to keep some easy shit. No, I mean, the hash brown Hassler is actually okay. You know, I don't mind him. There's been lots of times in my life where we've gotten along, you know, but the problem is when the natural order of things has been usurped and there's no hierarchy as it should be, you have instead this kind of the same way you have what Dashboard call it, the communist troika of women, particularly white women, non-whites, and Jews dogpiling white men. The same kind of thing goes on in a household to a lesser extent. This same kind of dynamic manifests. Whatever the superior being is in a particular area, the less thans will band together so that they can win democratically in that particular arena. Okay, it's the tyranny of the tyranny of the weak over the strong. You know, he's not when he's on his own, he's cool, he's chill, we get along. When he has her egging him on and giving carte blanche to do whatever he wants, the smallest provocation will have him just fly off the handle. And to his credit, it's something he's gotten better with age, but it still happens occasionally.
And you're the loudest people to shame people like me, and you've lived in your upper middle class or beyond existence, where in your neighborhoods maybe you had a couple of like well-to-do ones, you know, some of the good ones, the acceptable ones, you know, and that's been the extent of your experience with immigrants and, you know, people of color and all that stuff, is the cream of the crop, the pick of the litter, the exceptions, the ones for whom the other 90% make look bad. Yeah, those are the ones you have experience with. Meanwhile, a lot of us have experience with the other ones. Most of them are not like that. You know, most of them are not well-to-do. Most of them are not well-educated, well-mannered. Most of them did not have, you know, it's just... And I still have to hear it from people. So, let's see, she continues, I have caught myself thinking that an Uber driver of a certain demographic is bad at their job and behaves in a nasty way just because he is of this background. You are thinking correctly. That is a correct thought. Congratulations. Not just because he maybe had a crappy day. He maybe had a crappy day because he's crappy genetics. I don't know. He maybe had a crappy day because he's crappy. You know, maybe he just sucks. I am starting to also lack sympathy for international students. Good! Which was what I wanted to dedicate my career for. What a waste. Don't dedicate your career for that.
Be right back,
I
guys.
catch
Got a
myself
coup.
hoping for a load of these students to be deported. Oh my god, at the very least. And I'm hoping for the same. This is not me. Let it...
No, dude, I can't read anymore. I don't have the attention span for it. It'd have to be like audiobook form. Only white women for WD? Nah. No, I date Indian girls, Asian girls if they like otherwise met my my criteria. I held out long enough for white women. I gave it the old college try. You know, I'm not gonna wait until I'm fucking I've got erectile dysfunction for a white woman to finally give me a chance. Yeah, they're always far more receptive and polite. The white women are always fucking awful to me, universally. They always act like they're just like above me and they'd be doing me a favor, even if it's the most basic Becky that I mug. They act like they're just I should be thankful. I should worship the ground they walk on. Now, my sister had like an extremely mid friend when she was younger who was like known for being a slut, like born from like a single mother household, like a generational single mother problem. And this girl nonchalantly would just say like, dude, I was in high school, I was in like 10th or 11th grade, and this girl would be over at my house and she'd proudly declare, and with my sister standing there, that, you know, she's just gonna have one, mine or my brother's, by the way, just indiscriminately, she's gonna have one of our kids when she's older. Like, it was just like a given thing for her. She couldn't comprehend that, you know, somebody wouldn't be like interested in that. And she like this chick was living in like a crack shack years later, okay? Like low income housing, like basic apartment. And my sister was like visiting her there. And my sister called me to come like give her a ride or like pick her up or something. And I'm there and I'm like, my sister's dog like runs up to see me. And I'm like playing with the dog. Like the dog obviously like knows and likes me. And this bitch hasn't, she seems to have an excuse to come out of the house. She invents it. And she walks over there and dude, she goes through this routine pretending that I'm like a crackhead. She starts like screaming at me like, "Get away from her dog." Like starts like pulling, you ever see the memes where it's like the fat girl like trying to cock block her like attractive friend? She basically pulled that sort of routine on me. But it was like my sister that I was there to pick up, and I was playing with her dog while she was like gathering her stuff. She pulled that routine on me, the cock block from my friend routine. Meanwhile, like sexually irresponsible single mom with STDs that was fucking a guy that was like 50 when she was 20 to pay for her like kid. This sort of woman will think that she's above me. And it's like I wouldn't even enter, I wouldn't if I was like pass out drunk, I wouldn't even want head from you at all. I wouldn't want anything from you. In fact, I think you're like a scourge on the gene pool. You're squandered potential of the highest degree. You're everything that's wrong with white women incarnate. You and your mother. And you still like you think that you're in a position to talk down or like belittle me.
Become you. Okay? You'll do a lot better in life. You'll be a lot safer. You'll make better, more informed decisions. You won't keep navigating this life still believing, still drinking the Kool-Aid of egalitarianism, inequality, like we're all the same when we're clearly not. Yeah, whatever these thoughts are, it's not me. It's me. It's definitely me. It didn't used to be, but it's definitely me, and I suggest that
Women get more aggressive if you mog them. Yeah, exactly. And people still can't comprehend like they still can't comprehend like the doofy thing. They can't wrap their brain around it. I blame people like Rehab Room and Face and LMS that fed the community of world questioning young men these very pointed half truths where what they're saying is correct, but it only accurately identifies half of the problem. You know, people would mock Faison LMS and call him Faison BBC. And the whole time he was complaining about this stuff, he was never incel. He could always just get by on being tall and being black. Just be tall, just be black the whole time for him. And Rehab Room is probably pounding white pussy the whole time he's making these videos. That's his reward for pretending that ethnic men are actually hard done by. No, he perpetuates this idea of, white success when we're probably doing the worst we've ever been doing. And so he gets reward for it. That's why his profile picture is the little Fed chairs. That's why it's called Rehab Room, because they locked him in a room and they gave him an option to be rehabilitated by becoming one of them. The same thing I went through when I got locked into the psych ward. Racial awareness, like conservative politics, any Wignatism, Like, the sort of women that join this community are no different than the sort of women that join, like, a Dungeons and Dragons community. They only do it because it's a total sausage fest. If it wasn't a total sausage fest, they wouldn't be there. They can't compete in the wider arena of female competition. So they have to go to these situations where they can be the big fish in the small pond. Yeah, the healthy gamer GG is actually more accurate than Rehab Room because healthy gamer GG gets laid. He's honest about it. He'll tell them flat out like, no, it's just about your personality, bro. Happy gamer GG probably just like Rehab Room on the low gets all the white pussy he wants. That's their reward for being Zog's good boys. Healthy Gamer GG is here to lecture white boys about, how they just have to have positive personality, and he may even earnestly believe that because that's what worked for him.
She get on board and realize that it's best to just accept what her instincts are telling you and what her experience is telling you. I have no idea what to do. Get away from them. As they say, never relax. You know what I mean? Get away from them is what you do. So she has no idea what to do, and she needs help before these attitudes bleed into her professional life. Please tell me what to do. Get away.
Yeah, the Vedic stuff works for him. You ever watched any of my stuff or the stuff Hyperborean Knowledge has done where they explore these yoga maxers? These fucking turbaned up curry masters that people would tell you, people like Rehab Room would tell you that, women want nothing to do with these guys. Meanwhile, white women gobble up that ethnic lore slop. Okay, they can't get enough of it. When it comes to fucking ethnic men, white women turn into the fucking Ananurbre. Okay, they want to know everything. They want to know all the details. Yeah, it's not so they can, reconstruct the Vimana. It's so they can, learn a new position that a brown man can fold them in half in and then upload a picture of to Facebook. Superstition is fine as long as it's not Christianity. Yeah, that's white women for you.
From them. Get away. Rethink your professional life. Reimagine how you could use your education and your skills in some way. What else are you going to do? If you're going to keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep dealing with the same people. It's only going to get worse. Then you're going to end up like me, on YouTube, trying to navigate how to not get banned when you want to just lay it all out there. Just incredible. And of course, like I said, a lot of teachers.
I'm gonna do this dungeon.
And
I got one more short video I want to share with you guys. Kind of recommend the whole thing because I got reminded of it not too long ago, and it's entertaining. The trailer says a lot. I've got a couple Stormfront posts I want to review. Then that'll probably be the end of today for me. So I did work. It wasn't a hard day, but I'm still tapped,
Whether we're talking like over in the UK with all of their immigrants, or in France, or we're talking Germany or Sweden, or we're talking every inner city in America. And
dude, I did not like Costco when my family was doing the whole heavy gang stalking thing. My brother would pull this shit where, hey, I'm going to Costco food court. You want to come with me? You want to get anything? And I just wait in the truck because I'm antisocial. And the whole time I was sitting in the truck in the parking lot of Costco, it was like just a massive like gang stalk experience. Let me tell you that those breakdowns that people do talking about how the Costco guys are like actual demons. And like Costco is like J-ish and everything else completely accurate because that Costco parking lot is a fucking marketplace. Okay, there's more stuff that gets sold in the parking lot than does in the store.
Increasingly also even into the suburbs now. It's not even just the ghetto areas. You know, I just see a constant influx of stuff going on with teachers, with white teachers. And now they're getting to the point where, you know, instead of trying to mitigate a situation in their classroom, instead of trying to break up a fight, you know, they're just kind of walking off and being like, fine, whatever, and just leaving. And I can't blame them. And it's for the best. And, you know, and I'm seeing plenty of situations where a teacher is just straight up getting sucker punched. And I'm like, my God. And these classrooms are a circus. They're a circus. I mean, they're worse than a circus, because at least some circus involves some sort of like forethought, training, or whatever. These people are just pack animals, and they just act ridiculous. The sheer chaos that they unleash in these classrooms, it's unreal. So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to share that story. This is not me. Whatever these thoughts are, it's not me. It's not you. It's them. And that's why you're having the thoughts. It's them. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything wrong.
So I feel like this is kind of a gang stalk too, this guy's video. You know, it's you didn't do anything wrong. You're having these thoughts. It's not you. It's them. You know, recontextualize to my situation. It's a funny thing to hear.
You're just trying to teach, and they're not teachable. That's the point. They're not teachable. We keep trying to, like...
In the Averwill, in the original Doom, like Doom the video game manual, it talked about how canonically the portal to hell in the Doom universe was opened in 2020 or 2024. So, what channel is this? The channel is Shameless Spurg.
We keep trying to, like, apply standards to them, which we have historically applied to, you know, various European people.
Is there a secret ingredient in Costco food? Well, yeah, it makes me wonder if you know, all the people that McDonald's used to be grinding up and putting in their food isn't instead being used to now keep the Costco hot dogs $1.50. Wouldn't surprise me. You know, that the Polish dog is not because it's following a Polish recipe, perhaps.
White Americans, things like that. We cannot keep trying to make them fit into a mold they don't fit into. It's actually unfair.
Shameless Spurg has Hebrew tatted on his inner right wrist, plus he face doxes. Hey, I didn't know that, man. Thanks for the warning. This is like the first video of his I've watched. I watched that other guy, and this guy was in the recommendeds. They started giving me this guy afterwards. Good to know. Hey, it's funny though, because it's the same mechanism. You see the same thing repeat over and over again. It's which groups of people are you allowed to criticize? You know, the fixation from a lot of these kind of kosher conservatives is you know, it's okay to hate blacks. It's okay to hate Muslims. And then it like stops there. Like it's like this little kind of release valve. Like, yeah, you're allowed to complain about these two groups, but don't complain about, you know, some other people. That's not allowed. In fact, yeah, let's close this. What is it? Fucking 69 fucking Shameless Spurg. No, we don't. And of course, if you know, you know. You know, he's got, this is always framed, so you got the light up high behind him. You got the light on in the kitchen, okay? Think about this. He's sitting in a fully lit kitchen in what appears to be the day, okay? this whole building is being lit up by exterior light. Okay, the light is not on in the other room, yet everything's lit up. So he's got windows open, it's all completely bright. Yet he has the oven light on. In view, in frame. Okay? And my mother does this shit too, okay? My mother, in the kitchen in my house, the one that I have to use, that she uses, there's always shit, like, she's a midget of a woman, and she can't reach these things, but she puts these colored items with different color combinations of packaging all the way up where they can't be reached in the kitchen. And he's doing the same shit. He's got, like, this yellow box up here, okay? And if you've seen with, like, if you ever read any of the, who's the guy with the Cthulhu mythos? Lovecraft, I think, right? Lovecraft would talk about how, there's that village, Carcosa, that was mentioned in True Detective, right? And they had the Yellow King in True Detective. And the people in True Detective were like sacrificing children in their cult. And it was pinned on, like, they had like a Nazi doing it in the show, or at least he had swastika tattoos as the guy that was like, the serpent scales on the wall backsplash. Yeah, you see, William knows what I'm talking about. These people, they're all like, they're basically all interlinked. They're all controlled by the void. Okay, like whatever the many tentacled Hydra Leviathan is, it's in these people's heads. Okay, that's what's going on with the perspective, right? He's looking down on his audience. Okay, and yellow is the most high. Okay, it reminds me of what was her name? Okay, so when I was at the peak of my, what's the word? I was at the peak of my Pizzagate investigatory rabbit hole deep diving. Okay, one of the things was talking about how Betty White was like deeply evil, and she was put to death for, like, what she was doing to children. And one of the things that they mentioned is the front door to her house. Like, isn't this a fucking ugly color scheme? Okay, but this is what people do. Like, everything's hiding in plain sight. Okay? In my town, they do this shit all over the place. So, right next to the like homeless, like the homeless resource like center thing in my city, one of them, there's several, there is a bridge. And the bridge is up above. It's so a train can pass through kind of the downtown section of the city without impeding traffic. Traffic that the level where you're driving on. Yeah, follow the rail brick road from Alice in Wonderland. And it's elaborate, like, stonework, okay? Like, it's all hand-laid stones on the walls underneath the bridge. And there's a giant, like, demon. Okay, it's a giant demon-looking horned creature stylized into the brick, and its mouth is like a gate, like a sewer drain, like a garbage fucking, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. And I'm driving past that, and there's written on the garbage can, like, the old, like, when people talk about good Jews, okay, there's people there, the good Jews are ones that they still practice child sacrifice, but, like, the good Jews only child sacrifice non-whites. That's as good as you get with Jews. So, like, right beside this giant demonic figure with its mouth being like a big, like, storm drain, like, gate, Okay, there's a big dumpster, and in big bold letters printed on the dumpster it says "No Woods." Okay, no woods. Which, if you're familiar with right, like what do they call white guys in prison, right? Peckerwoods. Okay, that's no woods. No feeding woods to the giant demonic entity. Okay. That is, and this is one of my schizo rants. People think that I'm off my rocker or whatever. I hope that I am. I hope I'm completely wrong with this stuff, but I don't believe that I am at all. So, but yeah, yellow. If you notice with a lot of, and like in Canada, right? In Canada, so did you guys ever watch Alan Wake? Okay, Alan Wake the video game, right? When you're navigating the Alan Wake video game, what's guiding you through the game, Zennihilator is here to call me schizo. What's guiding you through the game in Alan Wake, particularly Alan Wake 1, is yellow spray paint like all over the place, leaving you like messages. And in the second Alan Wake game, they are investigating a cult in the Pacific Northwest. Okay? And it's very very similar to like my lived experiences. And what do you have running across Canada from east to west? You have the Yellowhead Highway. Everything's color coded, okay? Like it's not people talk about alphabet agencies, but think of the fag flag with all of its color coding and apply that to the environment around you. Okay, like that's what that flag actually means. Okay, it reminds me of that Stone Toss comic. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, this one. Okay, because it's who is it? Americans. And this isn't a pro-Russian thing, okay? I'm just pointing out that like this flag represents the peak of like American technology or demonology or whatever you want to call it, because the color codes on the flag is how they communicate and navigate. Okay, it's like their military code. They have some sort of a way that let me find the rainbow shit is all like Freemasonic as well. Freemasons, Masonic braces, Royal Ark Mariner, Ram. Like this is what I mean. They worship this like demon. Or the Ram. Masonic Freemasons, the cross of color. Like so they do. That's what they're whining about. Yeah, I get the people crying too, like more women in race rants. Yeah, focus on the women in race. Don't complain about Jews and Masons. Don't point out the Judeo-Masonic matrix that you live in. Don't do that. Flag of the autonomous Jewish Oblast in Russia. Yeah. Yeah, true. Good call. Yeah, see, you get it. It's funny. You can like predict it, right? Jews were using rainbow flags all the way back to Khazaria. Yeah, because it's right. It's like Mark Twain talked about, right? The mysterious stranger.
Am I already famous?
Don't you care about nothing else, you lummox?
Fame is a vapor.
Am I already famous?
Don't you care about nothing else, you lummox?
Fame is a vapor. The only earthly certainty is oblivion.
Welcome to the Mysterious Stranger.
Hello.
Who are you?
This is why these people think that they're chosen by God, because the world around them communicates everything to them by like morphing, okay? Like it's the colors, it's the numbers. Like the Matrix speaks to these Jews and Masons, okay? They communicate with it. It's like a two-way street, okay? Their interior becomes their exterior and vice versa. So they're chosen by God, but that God is like the demiurge, like evil Yahweh. Okay, like that's who has chosen them. So like if you're not one of these people, like the world is going to hate you.
Angel.
That's what they call it a lot of the mysterious stranger. Yeah, because you don't understand like what's going on.
What's your name? Satan. What's the matter? Nothing. Only it's sure a sorry name for an angel. Please, come in.
The only thing kind of based about this is it's depicting Albert Einstein as Satan. Okay, he's like the one that ushered in a lot of this shit because the relativity was like the final nail in the coffin of humanity. Mysterious Stranger was in Fallout 4 as an entity that helps you kill people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what Satan wants you to do. He wants you to kill people, and that's what I'm saying with like the no woods thing and the giant demonic statue. Like the world morphs around you, okay? And it morphs around these people, and they get rewarded for doing what the morphed matrix world around them tries to tell them to do. It's if you've ever read, this is a good book. It's called Lasers, Cavers, and Magic by Kelly Stephen D. Okay? This is a good book, and it talks about how at the top of the world that we live in, there is only really two factions, and they're both evil. Okay, one is like a racial thing where like they're white, but they don't, they don't just want to live apart from these other groups of people. Okay, like they bring these people in to sacrifice them. Okay, but they don't sacrifice white people, and that's as good as it gets at the top. Okay, they're still evil, but at least they're not they're not like they're not sacrificing white people. That's as good as it gets. That's your elites that are probably with Elon Musk and everything else now. They're gonna usher in, the Masonic one world government of Lucifer, and it will be seen as a savior because it at least like the other people, the so-called left-hand pathers, they're not sacrificing white kids, but they're really no different. They don't want the success of all races in their own homelands or whatever. Like they're just they're just evil to the other groups. Like instead of draining Ukrainian kids for adrenochrome, like the Rothschild like Jew side of things, they import Haitians to do the same thing to them. So it's better, I agree, it's better, but it's like the lesser of two evils. Neither's actually good. So this has taken a long time. This group is taking forever to fill. So I will move on to Couple articles that I came across here. Stormfront, for example, right? Like, who you're actually not allowed to criticize. Says, white women are responsible for white genocide. Although few white nationalists will admit this, white women are the biggest race mixers of the lot, and typically they fraternize with our greatest racial enemies, black males, who want nothing more than the mongrelization of whites into a capoid/congoid subspecies. These white women who procreate with Afro-Caribbean and Jamaican males have betrayed future generations of white men and boys who will never be born, as they have been supplanted by aggressive mulatto thugs. Jews are not determining the mating choices of white women. White women are mixing with N-words, black males, of their own volition, and don't appear to need any help from the Jews. Even if the media is awash with miscegenation propaganda, do white women have so little loyalty to their men of their own race that they are easily swayed by a television commercial? Of course, chivalric white nationalists, probably with mulatto grandkids, along with the culprits themselves, white women, refuse to accept that they will ultimately be responsible for white extinction, or more alarming, absorption, and often retort with the tired old line that white men are mixing with East Asian women. Two things here. This tends to be either middle-aged white men who have become disillusioned with modern white women, or young, reserved white men who are shunned by white women anyway for not being bad boys. However, there are degrees of racial treachery. I don't agree with any race mixing, but a white man marrying an East Asian woman is several degrees less severe and backstabbing than a white woman who has given offspring to a nigger. How many of these relationships between middle-aged white men and East Asian women even produce viable offspring? Very few, I would imagine. White nationalists have to accept that at least 50% of white women are actual race traders, while another 45% are potential race traders who just haven't had the chance yet. This leaves a depressing 5% of white women, a conservative estimate, who are exclusively true to white men, and this small fraction of white women must be used to rebuild a better white race, which is the super-social organism the same way niggers are. The other 95% of white women who are race traders should be culled along with their mongrel offspring. The worst thing is I don't think we've even began to plumb the depths of white female treachery yet. I don't understand how white women could mix with non-white males when their own fathers were presumably white. I don't care anymore. No white woman has ever wanted to be in a relationship with me or have my offspring. And what sort of response do we get from, of course, a Zogbot? Okay, you can see the profile picture, right? Who wants to keep white men simping for white women? Who's using that as a control mechanism? Okay, we've got a Zogbot avatar here, and he's from Florida, like one of the Jewish capitals of the United States. Okay, 9,500 posts on Stormfront, moderator, here to ensure this account will probably be banned. You have no evidence for these misogynistic facts. It creates division and there's no place for it here. Thread closed. You can't even discuss the treachery of white women on Stormfront. It's not allowed. And Stormfront, I've seen an article back from 2008 where it was talking about how there were too many woman bashers on Stormfront and it was keeping the women away. So they made criticizing white women a bannable offense on Stormfront. And they opened a whole board on Stormfront. I don't know if it's still around. I don't use this place really. That was talking where women could post and complain about white men without having any men allowed to rebuttal it. So a lot of this white pride stuff is guided by white women. Okay, they want to keep it a very see the women's forum, right? This is what it was, the women's forum. Ladies, please, attention men. This is a women's only section. You are free to view the threads and get some insight into the female mind. But if any males are caught posting in this section, you get a ban. The rules. No men posting in here. Like you can't complain about women on Stormfront, but you can there's a whole board dedicated to women where men aren't allowed to talk. Okay? Holding white women to any kind of a standard is misogynistic. Okay? And then when I searched, let's see if it still happens. I'll use this other tab, okay? So I tried to use the search function on here, okay? And I tried to search white women. Okay? All I did was search white women, and let's see if it'll show the threads. I was getting an error before when I tried to do this. This page isn't working right now. Stormfront.org can't handle this request. I can't search for threads on Stormfront about white women. It just won't allow it. All of a sudden, the website's working. It's fine. But if I search white women, it just bricks. And then it can't... No threads allowed about white women on Stormfront. Crazy. Right? Like this kind of blew my mind when I went down this rabbit hole, okay? And this is what you're going to have. This is how they're going to the obsession over brown eyes, dark hair, all this other shit, like would you say that redheads are not Aryan? Because they don't have blonde hair. A lot of them don't have like blue eyes. Some do. Some have green eyes. Okay, so if you accept that, you know, both the blonde phenotype and the redhead phenotype are like things that are exclusively white, then you're not like, you're more of like a Nordicist holding that opinion, where you think that only the no, I think okay, dude. I have brown hair. I have brown eyes. When I was a kid, I had blonde hair. So are you telling me that when I was a kid, I was an Aryan, but now I'm not because my hair changed color as I aged? I'm just saying, it's not as like cut and dry as you would make it seem. Okay, like it's not So, we'll read this other... I'm not going to read the whole thread, but this one... This is a long one. Okay. A message to race traitor white women. Okay. Wow, where to begin? This post has been a long time in coming, but I feel like I just have to vent out at how disillusioned and disgusted I and many others like me are at your choice in romantic partners. Over the last 10 years, more and more of you brainwashed, foolish white women have taken blacks as romantic partners. I'm telling you, and believe me, I know this with every fiber of my being, you know not what you are doing. This guy's already coping, okay? Like, they know what they're doing and they choose it anyway. Yeah, they prefer the animal. It's easier to control. They don't have to like intellectually wrestle with it. It is their, it's playing the game of dating on easy mode. You know, not only do they have it easy in the home with their Negro as long as they, don't get punched in the face by him or, who the fuck was the if a glove doesn't fit, he must have quit guy. Okay, as long as that doesn't happen to them, they got on easy mode. If they have a white guy, they know there's a target on white men's back, so they're part of the ones, sinking knives into the target on white men's back, so of course they don't want to pair with that. Let me tell you something. The real reason we are here and get so upset about it is because we actually deeply care and love white women, all white women, but such unnatural, disgraceful actions should really not be tolerated. We get mad because you are unwittingly destroying yourself by choosing such mates, and who wants to see that? It's not unwittingly. They actively choose it for the Jewish meta that has been created by white women being the ultimate golem on behalf of Zog. Okay. At least we are honest and let the anger At least we are honest and let the anger or indignancy be known, whereas the liberal will often hide his secret racist feelings about you. But you need to know it. If you actually even want to be helped or lead a healthy, decent, constructive life, or is that out of style? Let me also say this will be very harsh, but I have to let loose on you girls who could actually date outside your race because you are wrong and are hurting yourself, your family, and your very race. This is the delusion of Wignats. Adam's 79. This guy's fucking coming up on 50 years old. They just don't fucking get it, man. Like, this is, you don't get it at all. Women do not give a fuck, dude. They haven't been brainwashed. They're actively, like, they're hand in hand with Uncle Zog, okay? Like, subjugating their men. It's two sides of the same coin. I really need to know how in the world you could simply ignore the fact that the white man has given you everything in this world-high civilization. Great literature, great works of art, poetry, the greatest achievements in the history of the world, and yet you could actually sink as low as to date a race who failed to even emerge from the Stone Age, invent a freaking wheel, written script, and virtually anything else which qualifies as a race to be considered civilized, and not to mention men who treated their women as workhorse slaves while they lounged around all day. Where is your freaking brain? You actually think these black guys are cool, exotic, fun, exciting, or fascinating? You sincerely must be retarded. They are scum of the earth. They are natural born criminals. They have much in common with the ape. You know what I seen the other day, guys? I was driving home from work and I go through like some shitty parts of town while I'm doing it, and on this one section of town there's like 4 or 5 like vape shops in a row. Okay, like they sell bongs and all this other shit for the weed head retards. And walking into this fucking store, okay, was a white guy, okay, but he was totally like scuzzmaxed, okay? He was wearing like a basketball jersey. He was wearing like giant like Jordan shoes or something, okay, basketball shorts. This guy was obese. He had his hair dyed all kinds of different, he had his buzz cut dyed all different kinds of colors, like he was fucking Fred Durst or something like that. Okay? And he had tattoos on every visible inch of his body. His face, his neck, his hands, his arms, his legs, everything. And he was walking into the vape shop holding hands with like a high-tier Becky that didn't have any of this. Okay, she was dressed like totally normally. She was wearing the Canadian tuxedo of like blue jeans and a jean jacket with a white t-shirt, and she looked like she looked like if you seen her on a dating app, you'd think, she's one of the good ones. Okay, you think like, oh no, this girl isn't like, she can't be that bad. And the only thing that she'd managed to get right in her partner selection was that it was a white guy. So maybe he is. Maybe he's one of the, he's enough of maybe he's enough of an Aryan T grizzly. Yeah, maybe he's enough of a fucking like societal drag to attract a white woman, and she puts up with him in spite of the fact that he's white. Okay? But it blew my mind, and it's like, I had an argument with my mother the other day where, she was telling me how lucky I am, and I had to inform her that, like, I have no luck. The only time I've been lucky in my life was when I had to, like, make it myself. Okay, like, if I had listened to my mother's advice, I would have never got COVID bucks. Okay, the whole time I was going to apply for COVID bucks, she's sitting there telling me, like, no, don't do it. You're going to have to pay it back. Nope. Nuh-uh. If I had listened to her advice, I would have missed out on a year of COVID bucks payments every 2 weeks. When I get lucky and I don't listen to you. So like, no, it's not getting lucky. See, and I actually stood up. I stood up to close the door that separates the basement from the rest of the house when I started telling this story. And not 10 seconds after I started telling this story, my brother stood up, walked out of his room, opened the door back up, and walked upstairs so my mom could listen in on the whole thing. Okay? It's like it's everything's just like this perfectly scripted, like just like demonic thing that goes on. I don't know how they do it. It's technology, it's demons. I don't really care at this point. It's just hilariously annoying. His golem, yeah. Yeah. But I don't attribute it to like maliciousness. I think they're if they had a soul, they lost it. They're now like on demon autopilot. Yeah, right? What do blacks say, right? They're on demon time. Because they know the truth. They know what goes on with these people. And where was I? They are you really need to learn about them. Take a good long look at Africa and how they behave over there. That's their people. And yet, even when you know this, it somehow fails to register, huh? Do you rationalize everything they do wrong? Sounds like you are hopelessly brainwashed by our schools and mass media. It's very sad. This is, of course, not about the white woman with racial honor, pride, and self-respect, for she has a brain and realizes the ugly truth about the other races and could never lower herself, nay, disgrace herself, by mixing her blood with an uncivilized, savage people. A people who, by the way, would still be in the jungle if it were not for the white man. Understand, you clueless fools? And what I find so funny about this is I have black viewers, okay? I don't necessarily hate them or whatever. I tend to focus on like the white plight because that's, the version of the game difficulty I'm playing. But like, isn't it telling that I can have like 10 nignogs in my chat and we can all read this and like nobody's freaking out or anything? Okay, like we're all just kind of laughing about it and like taking it for what it says, right? It's a funny spiel he's writing up here. But if you say this same thing to like women or like certain wignats that will not hold women responsible for anything, this that should be the most offensive to blacks is actually the most offensive to them for reasons. Again, the white man, though obviously imperfect, has done or given his women the whole freaking world and would forsake this for a jungle dweller who has given virtually nothing to the world or his women? Are you even aware of the absolutely atrocious violence, cruelty, inhumanity, coldness, and lack of any high-level moral emotions contained in the African heritage and genes? Because that's what you have chosen. Also, I have seen it a million times. It never lasts. I have yet to see one couple make it to old age. Never happens. If so, it's extremely rare. You end up on welfare, getting fat, abused, or worse, killed. So please realize it's actually out of love, and this is the reason this whole post is actually up, because the whole time he's coaching it in the whole like all this stuff describes women too. Yeah, it does. But it's like a whole wall of text that's also simping. And the very first response he gets to his thread is so appropriate. Like, this is supposed to be Stormfront, and the very first response to this guy fucking dives on it like it's a fucking grenade that he has to protect the rest of the Goyim from reading. It says, the interracial marriages you speak of are usually free decisions taken by white women and non-white men. Learn to live with it. America has a long history of fighting for freedom. Yeah, the freedom of nigs to get white pussy. That's the freedom you fight for, white man. Learn to love it. How can you even say that shit with a straight face? That's fucking wacky to me. Good thread, Adam. We must take care of our women. Must be able to give our lives for our beautiful women. Yeah, I mean, giving your life for a beautiful woman that's yours is one thing. Like, I don't know. Yeah, not gonna read that whole thing though. That's enough of that. I will wrap up with. I watched this years ago, closer to when it came out, but the trailer is absolute kino. Okay. What makes me laugh about this clip is that white guys are even the best at being homeless. Okay? People talk about would you rather be homeless? Okay? Like the things that make homelessness look super bad is the drug addiction portion of it. Okay? That's the stuff that makes it look really bad. Okay? I got homeless pirates in my town that are like swimming around on like makeshift shanty rafts and fucking burning down like bridges and shit. Nothing even happens to them, okay? Like they're just like they're free to wage war against the municipality and like nothing is ever done. Okay? And the thing about homelessness is homelessness ceased to be something that was like easy to disrespect if there was no such thing as property tax, then I'd be anti-homeless people. Okay, but everybody is one missed property tax payment on something they think they own away from being homeless themselves. Okay, so that's why I can't hate the homeless. Okay, and this made me laugh so hard when I seen it back in the day. And listen to the dialogue, okay? And listen to what he says. It's about a minute long. Pay close attention.
Would you call it extreme, what you do?
To me, it's just too much fun. I don't know. Let's just say, what is extreme? I don't have any furniture. I have no wife. I have no kids to look after. I got nothing. You can't beat this. It's freedom. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at it. I'm sitting on top of a peak here. I'm looking over Vancouver.
I used to make snowboard and skateboard movies before I ended up in a wheelchair. I don't really know where this film is going because since the day I started, I've had one man run over by a truck, another man has died from alcoholism, and my main character is Al, and he's in jail.
It's not easy being me. It's not easy being us.
Carts of Darkness, if anybody ever wants to watch it, right? Listen to what he says right here, though, because this is the thing that made me laugh and made me want to play this for you guys. I'll turn on...
I don't have any furniture. I have no wife.
I have no wife!
I have no kids to look.
I have no kids to look after. And this is why you've got all these people coming out of the woodwork talking about how you gotta be a hard worker, you gotta do all this other shit, and because look at what happens. Yeah, I got no wife, I got no kids to look after. And what's he doing? He's bobsledding down residential streets in like a well-to-do neighborhood in Vancouver doing fucking speed runs with a shopping cart. And if you watch one of these clips, what he does in it, he picks up like a big fucking cinder block, okay? The thing must weigh like 60 pounds, and he tosses this big concrete block in the front of his cart to keep it tracking straight and make it like go faster downhill. Like, this is what they're scared of, okay? Imagine what the world would look like if instead of trying to keep it together for non-whites and for women that hate them, white men decided they're just gonna get liquored and go kart racing all day. Okay, I love this documentary and I watched it. It's taken on whole new meaning for me now. Yeah, scared of white men enjoying their lives. Yeah, no matter how bad you make it. See, the thing with like the rising tide, raising all vessels, the lowering tide lowers all vessels too. Okay, but the thing is that no matter how bad things get, white man will invent a way to be happy. And that's what they can't stand, okay? They hate it. No matter how bad they make it, you know. Imagine some fucking angry Jew, like, rubbing his hands together, thinking, like, oh, man, we got him. We got these white boys on the ropes, okay? We're pumping in the fentanyl. They're killing themselves. And then they see this, okay? They see this guy fucking, like, blazing around in a fucking shopping cart while he's, like, tipsy. And instead, the fentanyl is just having, like, a eugenic effect on the populace. Anybody that's fallen into its grasp would have, you know, also gotten addicted to cheeseburgers or anything else. So, and then you have this, a shining beacon to everybody around them. And, speaking of shining beacon, somebody was nice enough to track down that song I had been looking for. So that's what I'll close the stream with tonight. And this is demoralization for Jews. Yeah, there's nothing that makes a Jew angrier than a cart of darkness. Imagine a Jew getting woken up at 7 a.m. to this guy rummaging through his recycling that he left out on the street, and these hard plastic wheels on his shopping cart fucking screeching over the cobblestone streets with his fucking foot dragging behind like a pair of wet Nikes on like a gym floor squeaking. Okay, you gotta wake up to this every morning while he's searching for fucking recycling. Who's really the boss of that neighborhood? Okay, and where is it? If somebody was cool enough to track down that song I had been looking for, and they actually, I'll put it on screen. It's argentbeacon.com actually has a massive collection of all of this music. And I think my favorite one, because it, you know, it's, people think that, you know, I'm poisoning the well with the flat earth or the other stuff. Like, it is what it is, but this is my favorite song because it's an overlap of so many of my kind of schools of thought, right? And it's rare that I get to meet another group of people that you think the earth is flat, are tired of women's bullshit, and know what Jews are to blame. So, without further ado, I'll catch you guys later, and this will be the outro for today.
It don't matter. None of this matters.
Smear cocks as far as I see. Pale Judite conspiracy. The alt-right believes its own means, and none of this matters. The conference was full of gays. I guess that makes us all of it. I tried to stay above the fray, 'cause none of this matters.
It don't matter. None of this matters.
SPLC with a successful troll. Every faction at each other's throats. Picks and shakes a god is burning coal. No, none of this matters.
None of this matters.
And all the forum guys agree as he damns the kryptonite. The forum's gone. 160 frogs just got fragged. Go on and tell me how it was a false flag. Yeah, the real bad guys are the fags, and none of this matters. And all the forum guys agree as he damns the kryptonite. The forum's gone. There we go, yeah!
It don't matter. None of this matters.
I know you never traversed the South Pole. Andrew Angling's a Mossad Mo. NPI speakers smoking pole. And none of this matters.
It don't matter.
And who's winning? Hell, I can't tell. Daily Storm or all Carly Liddell. Who gives a shit, man? What the hell? No, none of this matters.
Yeah.
Shut up! Read a post on Renegade. Worried about featuring gays. Now the Vanguard is enraged. Anti-Jam is still a Jew. The forum's gone.
Yeah! Win the world.
Flat Earth was just a fashion meme. Never thought that we could make it real. Vart Vikernes had to split the scene. No, none of this matters.
It don't matter. None of this matters. Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.